Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is the part 2 of Chlamydomonas. And you can see today I will be teaching you about the reproduction, and in it I will teach you today first the asexual reproduction in Chlamydomonas. Actually, asexual reproduction takes place by 4 ways. First is the zoospore formation. Second one is the Aplanospore formation. Third one is the Hypnospore formation. Fourth one is the Palmella stage. Let's discuss everything one by one. So let's begin with the first one, that is the zoospore formation. So for this, I'm going to make it easy for you by looking at this cycle. I will explain you one by one about everything in detail. First of all, you have to know that asexual reproduction actually takes place when the condition is favorable. So it takes place at the favorable condition. First of all is that point. And the flagella here, you can see from here it is started. The flagella here gets contracted, eventually it gets disappeared, and the protoplast first, here the protoplast gets separated from the cell wall. Accused protoplast gets separated from cell wall. This is the first event that happens in this. And second one is the protoplast first divides. Longitudinal mitotic division that produces two daughter cells. And that two daughter cells, then it again, these are two cell stages, it produces two daughter cells actually, and again there will be a division at right angle. There will be again a division at right angle that leads to the formation of the previous longitudinal division that produces four daughter cells eventually. And in this way 2 to 16 daughter cells can be formed through simple mitotic divisions. Like that, 2 to 16 daughter cells can be formed with the simple mitotic divisions, where there will be, and finally each daughter cells there are able to produce their own cell wall, they develop their own cell wall, flagella, and transforms into zoospores. Everything here inside transforms into zoospores, but it is actually the zoospores are inside the zoospore enzyme. This is the zoospore enzyme. Several zoospores are formed, which once liberated from the parent cell by the breakage of the cell wall, it gets liberated. It comes out of by breaking the cell wall, rupturing the cell wall. Then the zoospores that are formed are actually identical to the parent cell. They are identical to the parent cell in structure. They are identical to parent cell in structure. That is identical to parent cell structure, but they are smaller in size. So this happens up to here. Then the zoospores simply enlarge, actually that is the maturation phase. Simply they enlarge, and then it forms the mature Chlamydomonas. forms the mature Chlamydomonas. So this is all about the asexual reproduction in the Chlamydomonas through zoospore formation. Now let's move to the second one, that is by the Aplanospore formation. So here, in case of Aplanospore formation, it takes place under slightly unfavorable condition. As I have told you, actually, the asexual reproduction takes place in the favorable condition by the formation of zoospores. But if there is slightly unfavorable condition, then there will be formation of Aplanospores. Example, in Chlamydomonas caudata, it is seen that it generally forms Aplanospores for its asexual reproduction, where the parent cell, this is the parent cell, this is the parent cell, where the parent cell loses its flagella, and the protoplast inside gets round off and secretes thin walled around. It is thin walled. And when there is return of the favorable condition, the Aplanospore can germinate itself to produce or convert into or divide itself into formation of zoospores, which eventually gets formed into a new thallus. Likewise, in case of third, that is formation of Hypnospore, it is actually same as the Aplanospore. Only the two difference is it occurs in slightly unfavorable condition, while the Hypnospore formation takes place in extreme unfavorable conditions, where the same thing happens, except there is a difference in Hypnospore formation where there forms thick walled cell around the protoplast. That is why it can withstand extreme extended periods of unfavorable condition and start to germinate as soon as the conditions improve. So this way there is asexual reproduction in Chlamydomonas, and the last way is that it forms a stage known as Palmella stage. So the Palmella stage is formed under the unfavorable conditions like that of shortage of water, Second one is the excess of salts, etc. Here the protoplast inside divides to form a lot of daughter cells but does not form zoospores. Each daughter's protoplast secretes a mucilaginous sheath around themselves that protects it, and it does not develop flagella. These daughter protoplasts are known as palmellospores. These are known as the palmellospores, and the protoplast divides slowly to form an indefinite number of spores. This is called as the indefinite number, that is called as the Palmella stage. And when favorable conditions are restored, the gelatinous mucilaginous sheath gets dissolved and each spore inside gets out of it and start to germinate into a new thallus. So this